Murray State with a bit of a shocker last night. They downed Duke 5-4, so they get the last entry now into the College World Series in Omaha, which you're going to be attending. We're going to be attending as a network here starting. You're going to be flying out tomorrow, starting on Thursday with our coverage. Jensen, tell us about Murray State now and getting that final ticket to Omaha.
First and foremost, if you have seen any of the pictures of the home ballpark, and I hesitate to use the word ballpark because it really looks like a high school field, just being honest about it. So, these guys, this is the beauty of Cinderella in college sports. We talk about it a lot with March Madness, right? Bracket busters. For people looking for a seed equivalent here, it's like a 12 seed probably making the Final Four in men's basketball. But the number 4 seed, Dave, in history here, since they went to the regional format the way they have it, to make the College World Series, only Fresno State in 2008 has won it as a 4 seed. So no shock here. Murray State still the longest of shots to win it at 40-1.
College World Series. We have the bracket. We have 8 teams settled on. 6 different conferences represented and an independent. So only the SEC ends up with 2 teams, Arkansas and LSU, and they play each other. So if one of them is to win the College World Series, they will have to do it from the proverbial quote-unquote losers bracket within their bracket number 2. Arkansas is the short shot to win the College World Series at 2-1, LSU plus 230. After those 2 teams got by, LSU made quick work of West Virginia. Arkansas continued their tormenting of Vols ace Liam Doyle. So those 2 teams got through. Also in bracket 2, you have the upstart, Murray State, out of the Missouri Valley. Murray State was the last team to advance. They did so yesterday in Durham, where they broke Duke's heart, and this was a prop that we talked about. Jensen Lewis brought this up. Jensen and Dave Ross, the co-host of By the Books, which precede us. Jensen brought up, will a regional 4 seed get to the College World Series? And I want to say it was 9-1. Well, it cashes with the Murray State Racers. They are Omaha bound for the first time in program history. Was a great game 3. The Racers thought they had eliminated the Blue Devils on an interference double play. Call was overturned, but they still got through. They are the first regional 4 seed to advance the Men's College World Series since 1999. That's in the 64-team tournament era, joining Fresno State 2008, Stony Brook in 2012, and Oral Roberts in 2023. And if you recall, Fresno State actually won it all back in 2008. So Murray State takes on UCLA. UCLA got some uncharacteristically good pitching in the Super Regional. So it's UCLA and Murray State in the first matchup in bracket 2, along with Arkansas and LSU. And in bracket 1, you then have Coastal Carolina out of the Sun Belt. Murray State out of the Missouri Valley. Coastal Carolina out of the Sun Belt. All these conferences represented. They will take on Coastal Carolina, which beat Auburn in 2 thrillers down at Auburn. They'll take on Arizona out of the Big 12. Arizona reaching the College World Series for the first time in the Chip Hale era. So that will be one matchup in bracket 1, Coastal Carolina and Arizona, and then the other one will be Oregon State, the one independent in this, taking on Louisville. Louisville got by Miami. Eddie King Jr., very hot hitting for Louisville. So those are the 8 teams, and I made my 3 bets early on. I had Vandy. I had Northeastern as my big long shot at 125-1, and I had Texas. No, no, and no.
We will be purchasing jello shots. We will have to select a team. So have you decided what team you are going to purchase the jello shots under? Because I have mine.
I hadn't thought of it like that. I was more so like maybe that day we're like, if we're backing a team, we buy jello shots for that team specifically, but not for the whole tournament. I didn't know there was like one team that we had to stick with. That was like if we're betting that team that day in a game,
you don't have
buy
to
their jello shot for good luck.
Yeah, I don't think you have to stick with a team, but if you're somebody with a strong moral character, you would.
Okay, sir. Yeah. I would like LSU then.
You are leaking confidence in that statement.
I'm jumping on the LSU jello shot bandwagon. Those fans are wild. They're chaos. This might also be my way to try to get an invite to the tailgate. Just saying, if any LSU fans are out there that are going to be in Omaha. But I'm going to go with LSU. Help bump those numbers. They had like 60,000 or something a few years ago.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with LSU. How about you?
Let's go Tigers, baby. Come on. I'm with you. It's LSU. There's no question about it. From about 4 weeks ago or so, we had our guy Aaron Moore on. Gave us a future. Actually, it might have been when you were gone. I don't know.
I wasn't with Aaron Moore, yeah.
But Aaron, we talked to him. You were here. 6-1. Win the whole thing. LSU. I'm in. I've got a ticket on them to win the College World Series. They will be my team. I will back with fervor and buying many, many shots.
Game number 3, number 15, UCLA taking on Murray State, 2 o'clock Eastern, and UCLA has been dominant, outscoring their opponents 50-16. A word that I would use to describe them is patient. And then Murray State, you mentioned, they're kind of the darlings, the Cinderella. So what's the play in this game?
This one's interesting. I'm going back and forth. I think UCLA wins, but I might be looking at Murray State on the run line here. I'm thinking we'll probably get like a +2.5 based off what the opening money line odds were. 4 seeds have actually done pretty well in Omaha. They're the 4th team to make it. Fresno State, of course, went on to win it all in a crazy Cinderella story. Stony Brook in 2012, they lost both their games. But then Stony Brook, just a few years ago, they won their first game against TCU when no one thought they had a chance. So Murray State, in this first game, I don't hate them. They just keep finding ways to win. I don't think they think they're an underdog. This is still a good team. UCLA, of course, has just been quietly just dominating their teams, as you said. But I think Murray State can keep it close here in the first game. Their pitching depth is, of course, worrisome, but I think that can be more down the line. I think they'll throw everything they can at this first game, and I think they'll keep it close here.
What do we have here as you get ready to go out there to Omaha with the crew here from VSiN? And maybe do we get that Cinderella story like we had in Caddyshack?
Yeah, Cinderella story. Here we go. Murray State racing on, as we've said, now to Omaha. It's an early lean for me. I kind of like them right now in their opening contest against UCLA. Again, that game will be the early one on Saturday, as Friday will be Arizona, Coastal Carolina, the early game, and then Louisville get underway against Oregon State in the nightcap. LSU, Arkansas, that's the headliner, obviously.
Yep.
If you've never seen 2 SEC schools with this kind of fan base and baseball come together, Dave, all I can tell you is the tailgating is going to be something of legend outside of TD Ameritrade Ballpark. And then inside of it, you're going to get the Clash of Titans. I do like LSU's price right now at +230 to win it all if you want to get something in pocket pre-flop. If you haven't jumped in yet, that's a nice side right there. So
LSU and Arkansas, they're the only short shots going into the regionals that were kind of, favorites in all of this, and they play each other. So if one of them is to win the College World Series, they would essentially have to do it from a loser bracket.
Exactly right, and it's why you sometimes, the way the super regionals also play out, there's no reseeding, so it's why you ended up with Murray State, a 4 seed against Duke, who was a 2 seed in their own regional going to Duke. This stuff is all sort of predetermined beforehand, and it's why for Arkansas here, they're the favorite, and of all these, I've seen 3 of the 8 teams in Omaha in person this year. Arkansas, far and away, has been the most impressive in person to watch. But think about in Supers, Arkansas, it had to eliminate Tennessee, who at the time was the 3rd short shot on the odds board. And they did that in pretty dominant fashion, won both games. And now they'll basically have to eliminate LSU, who's the 2nd favorite. You could probably argue Tennessee and LSU, 2 of the top 5 teams in the country. And that wouldn't even guarantee Arkansas the title. That's how crazy difficult this path is. So it's one of those things where I don't know that plus 195, not worth jumping in on at this point. My strategy, especially for these teams that are a little shorter, you got to just play them game by game if you like them and want to exploit certain matchups, because as we've seen in years past, trying to monetize out any sort of future gets really tricky in this double elimination format. I found this out the hard way. I had TCU a few years ago. I think you remember that, Gil.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, I got a 40-1 ticket, to win a few grand. Let me start monetizing, start hedging. They get into the losers bracket. Well, TCU wins like 3 straight losers bracket games, and I'm going, this is starting to get a little hairy. So that's the one word of advice I would give is, at this point, unless you've got a super great number, long shot from earlier in the year or at the start of the postseason, I'd kind of let those things just ride out, because it's really hard to know when to jump in how to treat the double elimination format here. But I do still feel like at this point, Arkansas is your rightful favorite, despite the very tough draw.
And again, for people that are just now kind of getting into it, it is double elimination here. So very similar to where a regional setup would be. And remember, Dave, in the field of 64, it is so imperative for you to get to not only that 1-0 game, but getting 2-0, it just saves so much of your pitching and how the College World Series format plays out. You have 2 weeks of games here. So it keeps you on that every other day pace where you can rest your pitching. And that is paramount when you're looking at coming through the winner side or having to find that arduous track through the loser side of the bracket. So another way to handicap it, and again, if you believe it's LSU or Arkansas, you wait to see who loses that first game, and then you probably jump on some longer odds for that club at that point. I think that's the only way to look at that side of the bracket. Listen, Murray State, what a phenomenal story for them. UCLA, I just don't know if they have enough pitching to counteract potentially what an LSU or an Arkansas offense is going to throw their way. That being said, the Cinderella of them all may end up being Coastal Carolina, and I realize they're the third betting choice at this point at 6-1. But Dave, I mean, they've won, 23, 24 games in a row, and their pitching is really good. They are really, really strong on the mound. So that's my look at the market. And again, I still circle Arizona, having, again, a little bias of having just seen them, but they have an it factor, man. They have a back end of the bullpen with Casey Hintz and Tony Pluta, and we're really a dynamic duo to finish off North Carolina Saturday and Sunday. So that would be the way I would advise people to look at this. Find out who you like from either side of the bracket to win their side of it and see where those odds end up matching up. And if you do feel it's Arkansas or LSU to win, you want to back the team that ends up losing that first game if you feel that will end up being a better odds payout for you.
You really, really got to follow college baseball if you want to really be in the know. It's not as easy to view the different games. You really need to go in and find the different stuff and really dig into the different stats. But this time of year, certainly super fun. You get to the super regionals where we've pared down the teams. It is easier to dig into all of that. And now that we're down to 8, you really can look at these teams as a whole and try to formulate some sort of opinion.
Yeah, you can. I think the bracket aspect of this is very interesting as well. They're split into 2 segments of 4, playing double elimination in both of those segments. And you allow yourself to be able to say, okay, well, who do I think can get out of these top and bottom brackets? And this year's unique. You see LSU versus Arkansas down there on the bottom of the sheet there, and that's going to be your 2 favorites in this event. So you have the 2 favorites facing each other in round 1. They have to face each other again and get through each other, so they cannot end up meeting in the finals. Only one can advance on, which means you could take some shots in the other bracket if you want to take the chance, Matt.